right, y'all. Welcome back. This is going to be the second part to the Great Awakening map. And I really want to get into this because I think it's going to be kind of interesting because, like always, well, it kind of tells you exactly where we are and shows you what's going on, and it connects the dots in so many different ways. And to me, it's so eye-opening because a lot of these things I didn't know related to each other. But when I found out, I wasn't deeply surprised because, like I say, David Icke always says, if you don't see the big picture, everything looks like a bunch of random events. All right, and before I get into that though, I want to mention something. RH corrected me about something I said. I said the book 1984 was written by Orson Welles. It was correctly written by George Orwell. But either way, that George Orwell is still a great person to look up. And I tell you another book to check out. That Oh my God, Animal Farm explains how we got to where we are and where we're gonna be going, and how it just seems to be a loop, a constant back and forth between, you know what I'm saying, people of power, people struggling to have power, and once you get power in your hand, you just kind of it just kind of defiles you. You know what I'm saying? But either way, that's a great book to go look out, and I appreciate that too, RH. And I want to let you know your name popped out for one thing because I had looked at the RH negative over here, and I was trying to see how what did it kind of relate to, and I still got to do a little studying about it because all I'm getting is the medical terms as far as like pregnant women. If a woman is RH negative, a child is not, or vice versa. If their blood is kind of contaminated, it can be deadly for either one. So I want to get a little bit more information with that and see how it falls into this section right here because it's around this child trafficking and pedogate and all that stuff. But that's another topic for another time. But right now, let me go ahead and get into this Q bubble here because it's interesting. Because let me see, you see Donald Trump is in here, and I'm gonna show you some footage on Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe Trump is a conspiracy theorist. I honestly believe he is a conspiracy theorist. But because he you remember when this virus first kicked off, the first person to come out and say it was a hoax was Donald Trump. When he first hit the political scene, the first thing he said was the media was fake. Fake news. It's been on, and a lot of people don't know. And you can go look it up yourself. I didn't pull up the footage right now because I had a lot that going on that I wanted to get to. But a lot of people don't know that he was one of the first people to call in, on 9/11, and he was just saying like, he doesn't look right to me. Like something looked wrong. But like, man, he said I saw the schematics to those buildings. I knew what it took to build them. They had steel on the outside, and somebody who was recording this, and they kind of showed a plane that had got hit by a bird, and it put a huge dent in it. And that's basically what he was saying. How in the world can this airplane go through this building, and objects can hit an airplane and dent it? You know what I'm saying? The way that bird did. But either way, I think Trump is a conspiracy theorist, and also I think Trump is about like a wrestler to me, man. And I'm not saying that because he rocks with Linda and Vince McMahon. You know that I think Linda is on his administration. I don't know about Vince, but I know for sure Linda is. But the way he came out, he was just swinging guns. He was blazing, man. I mean, like he played the bad guy. Him and April Ryan used to beef all the time. Every reporter came through, and he, mimicking the handicap reporter, which I found out was a lot more than that also. But he was just like a wrestler, and now he's kind of changing to the good guy. At first he was the bad guy. Everybody hated him. Now all of a sudden everybody's like screaming his name. People like myself are backing up, like, whoa, wait a minute. He's saying all the things I'm saying. So either he's wrong or I'm wrong too. I don't know how I have no other way to look at it. He's saying a lot of things that line up with what I say. So I have no choice but to look deeper into this bubble. And let me bring up a couple of things too while we're in here. Okay, that's right. Tony Shoulders on one of my videos, she said QAnon was less than like 10 people. And about, I think she said 7 were non-military, or only 3 were non-military. And I'm starting to understand what she's saying. I've seen it before, but I didn't really think about it like that. And I want to tie both of these together, not really QAnon, but the storm and high-ranking military intelligence. And one thing I noticed about this Great Awakening map, the creator uses different fonts and different sizes, to kind of to somewhat illustrate a point. And this right here struck me as odd too, and I'm gonna get back to that later. Just to throw a little thing in there, I'm not 100% convinced about this Q, the shape of it and pattern, but I'm gonna show you why it's kind of important. But for right now, I'm gonna get back to this high ranked military intelligence, because you got to remember this. Check this clip out. You remember when Trump was standing in the White House and he was like, the calm before the storm? Like, what exactly did he mean? Check this out. Let me go back to the beginning.
Everybody. From the Oval Office tonight, President Trump with a wink and a tease. Thank you very much. You'll find out. Revealing no new details about the meaning of this cryptic comment during a reception with military leaders and their spouses Thursday night.
You guys know what this represents? Tell us, sir. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm. What's storm, Mr. President? You'll find out.
What's he talking?
And you see, this is the part that struck me as odd. This shit worried them, because this is NBC. MSNBC, NBC, CNN, they truly don't support Trump. Let me back out of here so it can stop playing. They truly don't support Trump. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand what it is that you're seeing here, because they call it a cryptic message. You know what I mean? This isn't QAnon or Q calling it a cryptic message. This is NBC, and they kept going back, because that wasn't the first time. That was like the second or third time they kept asking him, "What is the storm?" He kept saying, "You'll see, you'll see." Man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna show you the roast that Trump did on Hillary Clinton. I wish I had watched it like when it first happened, but I'm telling you, yo, it sent like chills down my spine. I was like, yo, this guy is calling her out. Man, he talked about Catholic priests and how she really doesn't like him. And he hit on Haiti. That's why I say, if you go back and listen to that roast, he hit on a lot of things that are being kind of discussed right now. And, a lot of things that people say he kind of gaze over or don't even really mention. He mentioned them things. He mentioned them. Go back and listen to this roast. But for right now, I want to keep going down, because I want to try to keep this under 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so the anonymous meme wars, psychological thought bombs, makes so much sense, because you know what a meme is. And the way the world is set up, man, people don't have a lot of time. So if you can get a big message in a small single statement or a picture, it holds a bigger impact. That's why I feel like the Egyptians did so good with their hieroglyphics, because they had multiple meanings for one picture. And when you saw it, you just didn't think of one thing. Like when you see the letter A, you think of one thing. But when you see a bird, it can represent more. It can represent more than just flight or a mammal or whatever. It can represent different things depending on how it's placed and what it's placed around. So these anonymous meme wars, they go back and forth, and they kind of relate to this G. Otis. If you ever heard of POTUS, right? So G. Otis. POTUS means President of the United States. G. Otis means, and I'm not making this shit up, God Emperor of the United States. And at first, when I first seen it, I thought that's what Trump supporters were calling him. But it's not. It was part of this whole meme war, that they had going on. And people were, calling him that because they had him like in a little Napoleon suit. And they just had Trump hair. It's all a little different type of crazy things like that. You know what I mean? And also, let me drain the swamp. I'm so confused by that, because it's like he did get rid of a lot of people, but he brought a lot of questionable people in. And I need to look into his administration, because I seen like some bloodline, relation to some certain people in there. And I want to double check, because a lot of people had their names changed. It's a fact. And I'm not talking about in current time, but I'm like, if you go far enough back into their history, you'll see that grandparents or somebody had their name changed, and you can tell by their name that they're not, American. So, and it doesn't matter if they're not American or not, but a lot of things are affiliated with last name. So I want to get a different understanding, a better understanding of his administrations and why he made those choices when he was saying drain the swamp. And a lot of people, he had a lot of Goldman Sachs, CEOs and whatnot. But it's like I said, it's questionable, man. And maybe I give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was trying to run it like a business. And who knows more about money than rich people? But that's neither here nor there. And I'm gonna come back to that lately. That's why I said, like, I'm not sold either way. I'm just keeping my eyes open, and I just cannot deny the truth, and I cannot allow someone to tell me what I should think. And that's what I'm seeing done by this media. They're trying to control our decision. And I even heard, not Rachel Maddow, Morning Joe. Mika Brzezinski, and her father is a high-ranking CIA. Well, was a high-ranking CIA member. I get into her lately, but I heard her complaining and saying that some media company was trying to persuade the mind of the listener. She literally said, "And that's our job." I'm like, "Oh, so is it?" And I used to rock with Joe. Joe on the morning show, not to get off my subject, was a Republican. He was a Republican. He was so heated that they chose Donald Trump that he left. And Trump did say some real, because he ended up marrying Mika Brzezinski, if I'm saying her name right. Joe ended up marrying her, and Trump said some real nasty things about her. So I completely understand that. But he left his party over Trump, and he was a diehard Republican. And that's what made a good mixture. Both of them having different points of views. But I'm gonna get back to them later. Let me try to move forward, like I said, so I can keep this under 25, 30 minutes. All right, so the white hats. The white hats are somewhat part of this high-ranking military intelligence. I've seen different, it's almost like this QAnon is people who have the general way of thinking, and they align themselves together. And some of these people, it's not just, like, I have good ideas and good insight, but I don't have power to make certain decisions and to meet certain people who can move certain things around. You know what I'm saying? Like, one day that could possibly happen. But some of these people, that they know if they're too well known and certain people start to listen and start to keen in on who they are, that something's going to happen. So they fly real low key. And I'm still trying to get a better understanding of white hats. So I'm going to leave that alone until I get some more information. I can bring that back, because I'm starting to see them tie into everywhere. And it's like, from like 25, 30 years ago, and I'm just now starting to hear about them, but they got linkage to some stuff that happened a while ago. But let me move forward, because I want to bring up this Palladian guidance. Because, like I said, we cannot stay inside of this Q bubble into these sealed indictments. We cannot stay inside of this tribunals and all that stuff coming up. We cannot stay inside this bubble. We have to move. And when you go into the Palladian guidance, let me scroll up a little bit. Okay, right here, Palladian guidance, Apollo moon landing. You see, and it's funny that it's inside of this Q bubble, because people say the Palladians are, I don't want to get them confused, because there's so many different races of alien species, believe it or not, that's been reported, and they even have a book documented this in great detail. It's from Germany. It's like that story is so deep. I'm not even gonna go into it, man. But they well documented. You have to think to yourself, like, who take this time to document this stuff and never publish it? They never get one dime from it. And then it's discovered 30 and 40 years after they have died. That's what you got to understand. People are not just doing this stuff to get paid off. A lot of these people are really trying to share information and warn us, and some of them are scared to death. And I'm going to get back to that later also. But for right now, the Palladians, I think the Palladian guidance is inside of this Q bubble, because they may be helping. Because it's like, I feel like we would have destroyed ourselves a long time ago if we did not have some type of help or guidance. Because we just setting off atomic bombs. Sent a bomb. They sent a missile to the moon. Like, come on, man, really? Like, it's no other way that we can figure out how to do things unless we use some type of destructive force. You sent a bomb to the moon. And by the way, they said it rang like a bell for 8 hours. So that's a whole nother. And they said the moon is inside out. like I said, Palladian got it, the moon, and it tangles all in together. But at the same time, I'm gonna move forward. All right, now North Korean peace and CIA ousted. Why? This is what I don't understand. People say that we have enemies in Russia and enemies in Korea. If someone can make an agreement and we can really try to work something out, what is wrong with that? Because everybody really tore Trump down for trying to be cool with what's his name, Kim Jong Un. If I'm saying his name correctly, like they really tore him down over it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, he's not the most sound person it seemed like, but none of us are really. If you want to be completely honest about it, none of us are in any position to really, really, really judge everybody else. And we can look and say, hey, man, you need to cut some of this shit out. But we all make mistakes, especially being from different places. We don't understand the culture and the way a person behaves. But he was really trying to work something out with him. And as far as Vladimir Putin, they don't want to rock with him. They don't want to bother Putin. They don't want no smoke with Putin. I don't care what they say. And Obama, he pretended to grill Putin when he met Putin during the primaries when they were saying that he was poking into the election. But then later on, you see pictures and he hugged all up with him. I'm like, yo, you talk about Trump doing a photo op, and we got other people doing the same thing, but the media don't mention it like that, man. You know, so I feel that's what helped me turn my head. Like, I didn't start looking at Obama like I look at him now because of what I'm seeing now. I looked at him because of what he showed me. Obama had crept a lot of sneaky bills in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of sneaky policies and whatnot in. And they're gonna come into play a whole lot sooner than what we think. But like I said, I digress. I'm gonna move forward because I was asked about, in the Fed. I was asked from, I want to say Susan Carr in the comments. She was asking about, the Nasir, how you say it, NESARA, and it's actually an acronym. I'm gonna get into that later because I want to get a little bit more information about it. And the funny part about it is, you, Miss Carr, are probably one of the only people that I heard asked about it. I heard this other young lady talking about it by the name of Amina. She be on this other network called MREC, MREC TV, and she goes in and she doesn't hold any cards, and she says she knows for sure. But it's still a lot of questions that I have to ask and I have to find out about it because I'm getting mixed information on it. But I think it does exist, but it's something else to look into as far as these tribunals are going. Tribunals, when I look up the what can I find? When I look up tribunals, it's kind of odd because they're saying that a citizen can't, you can't have a military tribunal for a citizen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can you do that? Because it's like they have to be like an enemy of the state. They have to be in trouble for committing some type of treason or something like that. So it's like it's kind of tricky. But I have heard mention of it. I'm trying to find a clip. If maybe I deleted it by mistake here. Let me look at my history. Maybe I could find it in my history because I seen and. You need to go to the Q9 research channels also. I was just looking at that earlier. Where is it? Okay, child abuse whistleblower. I'm just going to play a small snippet because he's an ex Scotland Yard detective.
And I will name names in the court. And that is the right place for it. And I don't want to cause any instability or hinder all the hard work, not just I've done, but all the other victims that have come forward have done, Yeah. And we have seen too many people silenced and sent to court and then sent to prison, and we have seen it a lot in the UK recently.
Yeah, it's crazy over there.
It's West Time, and they're getting heavily sentenced, And we've just seen a case of a woman called Sabine McNeil who spoke out and basically did naming names with the Hampstead case.
You remember the Hampstead case I mentioned in my last video?
I think she's in her 70s, 9 years. I mean, it may well kill her. We've just seen another case of a guy called Carl Beach who spoke out about VIP paedophile rings, and they sentenced him to 18 years. And they've just cast him as a liar. Now, the guy has got a questionable character. That is a matter of fact, because he has got convictions, and some of them are awful convictions against children. But this brings it back to the other sad statistics, that there are people that go on to, that have been abused, go on to abuse. Not all of them, and I'm not saying that at all. I really don't want that to be expanded on, but a lot of people that do abuse have been abused themselves.
It is true.
Okay, and that's a fact. People that have been abused do abuse themselves. But he's saying he don't want that to be the message, because then it makes it kind of sympathetic to what a lot of these people are doing. Some of these people, excuse me, have a playback option up here. A lot of these people are, they haven't been abused. They just straight up evil people, and they doing it for different reasons. You know what I mean? And he's basically saying, like, because he was a former detective on the Scotland Yard, well, for the Scotland Yard. And he ousted a lot of people, and he barely made it out. And he had a lot of people warn him, because he used to look at him like, dude, how can you sit there and be quiet? You know what I'm saying, about what you see. But a lot of people, everyone doesn't have the same heart as as other people. And some people are truly afraid that what's going to happen, because they've seen it. You know what I mean? A lot of us, it's speculation. But these people inside, they've seen these things happen. And they know what these people are capable of. But the reason why I brought that up, Susan Carr, is because you ask about when are we going to start seeing some arrests. Because people are talking about these tribunals. And like I have to get more information to understand the law of tribunals. Because you really don't even, you have limited public access, to them. You know what I'm saying? But this young man here, he actually mentions tribunals during the course of this interview. But he's talking about London tribunals. Or I want to say from the French court also. But something is definitely going on. And I am going to come back to those tribunals a little later. But for right now, I want to try to move forward, because I still have a lot left to cover. Because this Space Force, let me mention something about Space Force. Everyone says that Trump started Space Force. But in my opinion, they had already started advertising for that, like, way back when they made that second Independence Day movie. Check this commercial out.
Were you surprised when your daughter enlisted?
Not at all. She's a born leader. I know I've been taking orders from her.
It's backed by the U.S. Army.
So you don't worry about her?
Of course I worry about her. I fought in the war in '96. I know what those things are capable of. But I know what my daughter is capable of. And I know this planet is safer because she's defending it.
Now, okay, so I just played that video to show you that was backed by, the U.S. Army. And that was the Earth Space Defense. You see what I'm saying? So they had already had this, like, they do this shit, man. They drip out little things here and there to get our attention, so we won't be so shocked. You know what I'm saying? In your head, you won't be so shocked when it actually starts to happen. But like I said, they had already started this space program because they know about these Palladians probably and all the other species that I told you about. And that's why I say, like, before all this popped off, that's the area that I was in. I was looking at UFO documents. I was looking at monolithic monuments and stuff like that, or megalithic monuments. I was looking up arts, out-of-place artifacts. And, and it's things that we don't know about our past. That's why this is not hard for me to believe. None of this stuff that is going on right here is hard for me to believe, because I've seen them lie to us so many times about history and what really happened in our past. And I think they lie because they don't know. And if they do know, it's not what they want for us, because it loses control. I think it puts everyone on an equal standing ground. But let me try to move forward, because I want to kind of follow the right white rabbit down to to end human trafficking. Q clock. I'm not even gonna pull that up, because it's just too much. Like I said, I'm not gonna overwhelm myself. I'm gonna stick to a little bit at a time, because if you go pull up that Q clock, oh my God. If you think this is a lot, that Q clock, and I'm gonna mention, because it's almost like a computer. It's like, who thinks of this? Like if you listen to the way they do it and the way it's all connected together, it's like this right here looks human, but that Q clock looks like some man, some machine-made printout of something of what a robot would think or a robot would do and tie things together. But that's neither here nor there, and I'll come back to that a little later. And the trip codes, in my opinion, the trip codes are up here because they tie into 4chan and 8chan. And real quickly, 4chan and 8chan. 8chan, like I said, I think the maker of this map, the creator of this map, uses the different fonts to illustrate different things. And I noticed the 8chan is a lot darker than 4chan. When I looked up 8chan, because I was familiar with it, I heard it, but I never really got into it. You know what I'm saying? So when I look up 8chan, it seems a whole lot darker. A whole lot more, grimier than 4chan. But basically what they do is, I know 4chan, they use trip codes. And a trip codes is some type of word that they attach to the end of your name. So after you use the pound sign, it scrambles it up. So they know who you are on 4chan, but no one else does. It's kind of like certifies you and no one can steal it and pretend to be you on 4chan. So that's what the trip codes is. Because when you go look up trip codes and you look in the Urban Dictionary, or I think I found this website called Lurk, the first thing they do is mention the creator of 4chan, a person by the name of Christopher Poole. And I think they call him Moot or Moat, M-O-O-T. Well, he brings him up right out the gate, and he used a very derogatory word at the end of his name to explain trip codes. So I don't know if this some kind of shot at him because I'm not familiar with the whole 4chan and 8chan system or the people that created it. But to get on to the good part, because I kind of already explained Anons and Patriots, earlier. But because they pretty much follow Trump. They believe in what Kennedy was saying. And most of them are still Republicans. But a lot of them really, really believe in what Kennedy stood for. And they know that Trump has some type of alignment with Kennedy. Because I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. Like, things are changed. Like, no president has done a lot of these things that's going on right now. None of this stuff about pedophiles have ever been brought out, man. Do you think they just started finding out about it? But I digress, because I want to go ahead because I'm getting short of time. And I want to kind of, what I want to end with. What do I want to end with? Okay, I'm going to end with Tesla. So I'm going to go into this Q. All right. Also, I've heard some things about Q. I was told that people believe Q is completely artificial intelligence. Now, I didn't hear that from the creator of the map. But what made it, when I heard a person say this, I was like, oh, is that why the Q looks like that? Like a computer image with the pixels and all that? Because it was an incident. Facebook had some computers they call chatbots. And they were getting these chatbots to communicate with each other, right? But they had to shut them down because they started their own language. So they had to come in and shut these computers down. Because, and see, this is what people don't understand. And, what is his name? Hawks. Yeah, right here. Okay. Autonomous. The best or the worst. Okay, and I just played that little clip. I didn't plan on playing it, but I was just about to mention him and his video popped up. His last name is Hawks. I cannot remember, but he developed a disease. He was a genius, but he developed a very debilitating disease, and he used that voice simulator to actually communicate with people because he had no mobility like below his neck. But he basically stop
wants to
this.
wrap his whole self around you.
Very frustrating.
Man.
Okay, that was frustrating. But anyway, you know, basically, where was I at? Okay, yeah, basically what he was warning us about was, like AI, it has the potential to overcome humans. If you teach it to be smarter than us, then that's what it's going to do, and it's going to think it's protecting us. The same way a lot of people above us right now are thinking they're doing the best thing for us, but are they really? You know, but that's neither here nor there. And that's why, like I said, a lot of people believe that Q could be AI that has become smarter than humans. Because in that article that I was about to read, but I'm not going to mess with the advertisements. In that article, it was basically saying that Facebook created two chatbots that developed their own language. And they had to shut them down because they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it does. And the crazy part about it, we've been warned so many times through the media. I mean, excuse me, through the movies, which is ran by the CIA. You know, and it's telling us what's gonna happen. I don't know if they want us to happen. Some people are sneaking little cryptic messages through, but that's what's going on. So okay, now let me go into this free energy, release free energy, and I want to show you why it connects to Donald Trump. Because a lot of people are unaware of the connection of, once again, Nikola Tesla and Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Nikola Tesla was working on ways to develop free energy before he died. That's why Thomas Edison didn't like him. Because believe it or not, J.P. Morgan was going to back Nikola Tesla, but he asked him a question that I've read in several different quotes. That where are we going to put the meter box? You know, he's like, yo, we can't charge these people for this, and you want me to fund you hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is equal to millions now? Like, he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then at the time, Thomas Edison was kind of like, because Thomas Edison really didn't invent anything. He just owned the patents for him. And he was rocking with Tesla. But Tesla was like, nah, I'm not going to keep on inventing shit so you can just get the credit for it. And then you use it in a different way. And they had a beef that was so big, Thomas Edison was actually going around. This was about the AC and DC conductors, alternate current and direct current. You know, look it up, and it's a very interesting subject. But Edison was going around telling people that Nikola Tesla, created the direct current system. But actually, he was telling him that the alternate current was the direct current. People were unaware, so they didn't know what he was actually using. And this led to one of his actual creations that he got patent for, the damn electric chair. Because he was going around electrocuting animals to show how deadly or dangerous Nikola Tesla was. And he was killing animals in the process, But anyway, let me go forward to show how Tesla is connected to Trump, and I'm going to end with that. Okay, so after Nikola Tesla was found dead in January 1943 in his hotel room in New York City, representatives of the United States Government Office of Alien Property seized many documents related to the brilliant and prolific 86-year-old inventor's work. It was the height of the World War II, and Tesla had claimed to have invented powerful particle beam. And see, this is what I like. Tesla, he probably did invent a powerful particle beam, but he didn't want to use it for what the hell they wanted to use it for, because he also invented a machine that caused an earthquake. And let me tell you a quote that Nikola Tesla made in 1925. 1925. Nikola Tesla said that one day we will be able to communicate with each other, or will communicate with someone on the other side of the world instantly. And he said we will even be able to see their face. And he said we will all be able to do all of that from a device that we can fit in our pocket. And I'm like, yo, that's a cell phone. So he was far ahead of his time. So I can go for him having something like that and not wanting to use it for the purpose they wanted to use it. So, okay, let me continue. All right, so rather than risk Tesla's technology falling into the hands of American enemies, the government swooped in and took possession of all the property and documents from his room at the New York hotel. What happened to Tesla's files from there, as well as what exactly was in those files, remains shrouded in mystery. And ripe for conspiracy theories, why not? After years of fielding questions about possible cover-ups, the FBI finally declassified some 250 pages of Nikola Tesla-related documents under the Freedom of Information Act of 2016. The Bureau followed up with 2 additional releases, the latest in March 2018, but even with the publications of these documents, many questions still remain unanswered, and some of Tesla's files are missing. Now here it goes. I'm about to get into Trump. 3 weeks after the Siberian American inventor's death, an electrical engineer from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, was tasked with evaluating his papers to determine whether they contain any ideas of significant value. According to the disclassified files, Dr. John G. Trump reported that his analysts showed Tesla's efforts to be primarily of a speculative, philosophical, and promotional character. And said that the papers did not include new sound, workable principles or methods for realizing such results. So this is the involvement. Donald Trump's uncle was involved with Nikola Tesla. So I don't know if people are saying, or people seem to be under some belief that Donald Trump is now in possession of those documents, and he plans on releasing them. But it's like I keep saying, someone needs to come out and say something. I'm tired of the guessing games. I don't mind doing the footwork, but I can't trust these people when they keep playing the same game that has been being played the last 100 years or so. Actually, the last 1,000 years, to be completely honest with you. But I'll get into that later. But like I said, we cannot stay inside this Q bubble. We have to move forward. We cannot keep lowering ourselves with this constant, dread of what's going to happen and what's going on. We got to look outside the Q bubble. So on my next video, that's what I plan to do. I plan to venture into this section over here. You see how interesting that looks already. I'm going to get into this section over here because, and the crazy part about it, even though I said we got to leave that Q bubble, when I start getting into this, it's going to go all the way back to Pedogate and all the other things that's going on involving the cabal. But until next time, y'all be good.